peace, security, and solidarity. Let this be an aspiration but a guiding principle in our deliberations and decisions. In closing, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all of you for your presence here today. Your commitment to the cause of peace and stability in our region is a testament to the statement of our unity and the resilience of our shared vision. As we embark on this journey together, let us remember that our ultimate goal is not just to resolve the crisis in Niger, but to build a stronger, more resilient ECOWAS that is capable of confronting and overcoming the challenges of our time. I want to also thank the Chief of Defense Staff of Ghana, the Minister, and the entire people of Ghana for the warm reception and the opportunity to be here today. Thank you, and may our celebration be fruitful and resolutions resolute. God bless you, God bless ECOWAS, and God bless our dear nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, General Musa. Shall we please once again give him a round of applause? May I now humbly invite the Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security for the ECOWAS Commission, Ambassador Abdel Fattah Musa, for his remarks. Shall we give him a round of applause?
My brother, Honorable Minister of Defense of the Republic of Ghana, Niger Coup. Another, brother, Christopher Wabi Musa, the Chief of Defense Staff of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished Admiral Amwama, the Chief of Defense Staff of the Republic of Ghana, my, brother, special representative of the ECOWAS president, ECOWAS, president to the Republic of Ghana, here, present, distinguished chiefs of defense staff of our sister nations in West Africa, or their duly accredited representatives and delegations. My Chief of Staff of the ECOWAS Standby Force here, the Director, Peacekeeping and Regional Security of the ECOWAS Commission, also here, colleagues from the ECOWAS Commission, here, invited guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I would like, first and foremost, to thank His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, for his dedication, to the ideals of regional integration, regional security in West Africa, which he amply demonstrated during his 2-year tenure as chair of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. We equally, want to express our profound gratitude to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Ahmed Bola Tinubu, for steering the affairs of our community at this very critical time in our history, and for his dedication. Everybody knows his democratic credentials, and everybody knows his determination to make sure that our democratic process in the region is not put in the reverse gear, and we are grateful for that. I would also like to thank the Ghana officers, commanders, and others, men and women of the Ghana Armed Forces, to thank you for accepting to host us in these beautiful facilities and to facilitate the work of the Committee of the ECOWAS Chiefs of Defense Staff. I say Ayiko to you. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this is the second time in the space of about 2 weeks that the Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff of ECOWAS are meeting. The first was from the 2nd to the 4th of August to start a planning exercise for the potential deployment of the ECOWAS standby force to restore democracy, to restore constitutional order in the sister republic of Niger, should all other means fail, including diplomacy and, also, of course, the sanctions that have been imposed on the country. This is the second meeting that we are having, and it follows also the second extraordinary meeting of the ECOWAS heads of state and government, also in the space of less than 2 weeks, on the 10th of August, who gave us the marching orders: 1, to activate the ECOWAS standby force with all its elements; 2, to start preparation for deployment to Niger should all other measures fail. This junta in Niger is playing cat and mouse with the community. They should know one thing: they have flouted their own constitution that forbids military incursions into politics. They have flouted ECOWAS instruments, particularly the various sections of the Supplementary Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance that declares zero tolerance for power obtained or maintained by unconstitutional means. Sections of the same protocol talks about the democratic control of the armed forces and their, subjection to the authority of civilian authorities. Their principal role is the defense of the territorial integrity of member states and to ensure, security. And it is ironic that many of these juntas that have overthrown democratically elected government cite insecurity as the reason for which they staged the coup. So if it is insecurity, who should bear the lion's share of the blame? Is it the civilian authorities or those who are supposed to fight the terrorists and other armed groups that are marauding, in our, sub-region? That is the irony of it. And they are thumping their noses to ECOWAS. The President Bola Tinubu deployed a very high-level delegation to go and talk to them and then to seek peaceful pathways to the restoration of democracy. They confined General Abdulsalam Abubakar, the Sultan of Sokoto, to the airport. This is the former head of state of Nigeria and somebody who has been a very, very influential person in the political process in Niger itself. They confined them to the airport. And they were rather reading their riot act to ECOWAS instead of the other way around. There was also a mission, joint one, by ECOWAS, African Union, and UN that was also supposed to go and then try to continue on the peaceful pathways to the restoration of democracy. The mission was on the way of the airport when we were informed, that they were not ready to receive us. But since the decisions of the ECOWAS authority, they are pretending, that, now they are ready for talks. But even as they are telling us that they are ready for talks, they are still seeking reasons to justify an unjustifiable coup d'etat. They have charged the legitimate president of the country, Mohamed Bazoum, of high treason. Because of an op-ed that he penned for the Washington Post, sending an SOS because of the situation in the country. So as the junta goes along, they now find more reasons to justify why they staged the coup. The irony of it, is that somebody who is in the hostage situation, himself, his wife, his child, 20-year-old, and members of his cabinet are being held hostage. And in that condition, he's being charged with treason. When did he commit that high treason? It's everybody's guess. So, there are people in the region who are saying we should not intervene. And that it is because of insecurity, because of bad governance, because of all that. I wish to inform the community in West Africa that the entire world is suffering from, one, the aftermath of COVID-19. What is happening in Ukraine today is having a very devastating impact on livelihood throughout the world. I was in the UK just about a little over a week ago. Shelves were empty. Gas prices were skyrocketing. And you can say that for almost all the European countries and all the other African countries. So if because of these difficulties we have to stage coups, then the whole world will be plagued, by unconstitutional changes of government. We say no to military intervention. That is the issue. And the fundamental issue is that ECOWAS is protecting its protocols. ECOWAS is protecting its protocols. And that is why I would want to thank, in particular, General Christopher Gwabin Musa, the chair of the ECOWAS Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff, for his resolute leadership of this committee at this very critical moment. Let no one be in doubt that if everything else fails, the valiant forces of West Africa, both the military and the civilian components, are ready to answer to the call of duty. Your valiance has been demonstrated time and time again. In the 1990s in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in Cote d'Ivoire, in Guinea-Bissau, and recently in Guinea-Bissau again, and in 2016 in the Gambia. Ironically, when ECOWAS deployed the standby force to the Gambia to make sure that a president who had lost elections vacated the presidency, nobody made noise. Today, they are saying, why are you intervening in Niger? So serious interests are at stake here. But that is not going to divert ECOWAS' attention. We just want to tell them that and inform them about the resolve of the ECOWAS heads of state and government to make sure that by all means available, constitutional order will be restored in the country. And this meeting today bears testimony to that. This meeting is a continuation of the planning meeting that took place on the 2nd to the 4th, of August, where the concept of operation, the logistics requirement, financial requirement, timing, and all other factors around a possible intervention were worked out by the chiefs of defense staff. And people are telling us, where are we going to get the resources? So ECOWAS is being teleguided by the West. It is being teleguided by France. It is being teleguided by anybody. But what they forget is that ECOWAS is a rules-based organization. We have our protocols, we have our norms, and we are ready to protect them. That's why the heads of state are saying, if push comes to shove, we are going into Niger with our own contingent-owned equipment. We are going with our own resources and to make sure that we restore constitutional order. If other democracy-loving partners want to support us, they are welcome. But we are not going begging, cap in hand, before we do what is right for the region. So this is the determination that I want to put across here as we meet today, to fine-tune and then also to plan about the timing, about all that. Meanwhile, we are still giving diplomacy a chance. The ball is in the court of the junta, the CNSP, in Niger. If they pull back from the brink, the military option will not be necessary. But we want to warn them that all options are on the table and no option is off the table. So a word to the wise is enough. I thank you all for your attention, and I wish all of us very fruitful deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Musa. Can we please give him another round of applause? I think that I wish to go to certainly invite the Minister of Defense of Ghana, Honorable to give us the opening remarks. Recently, can we please give also a
the ECOWAS Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, Ambassador Abdel Fattah Musa, the Chairman of the ECOWAS Committee of the Chiefs of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, the Chief of Defense Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, Vice Admiral Seth Amama, the Chiefs of the Defense Staff of ECOWAS, present here, the Special Representative of the ECOWAS Committee in Accra, the Chief of Staff of the ECOWAS Standby Force, Brigadier General Mukhtar Diop, distinguished generals present, as well as officers present, the three commanding officers of the various services in Ghana here, Major General Thomas Opompepra, who is the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Frederick Bequin, and the Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Issa Yakubu. On behalf of the President of the Republic and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the government and people of Ghana, let me say that I'm extremely glad to be invited here at the extraordinary meeting of the ECOWAS Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff to speak to you on a very important matter such as this. My dear generals, officers, our nation, our various nations, that is our sub-region, ECOWAS, again is facing crisis that we thought over the last 15 years had disappeared. When all 50 members of the ECOWAS countries had chosen the path of democracy and had civilian governments, ECOWAS became the toast of the international community and the investor world. Remember that in Africa, our region in the past had been developed by coup d'etats and military takeovers, whilst other regions did not have same. The southern and eastern countries had relatively been very peaceful, and whilst we were creating issues for ourselves, they were busily, ladies and gentlemen, attracting investments. The result is that our people were there for the West. But today, our nations within West Africa are sliding again into the era that we thought would never come. That is why it is clear to all of us that the security of the sub-region is going through one of the most difficult moments after the challenges in the 60s, the 70s, and particularly the 90s, when rebel incursions destabilized parts of the West African sub-region. And in recent times, the scourge of terrorist armed groups and violent extremist groups have rocked the Sahel region of West Africa. As stated already, the populations of these countries have been affected by these activities, and the people are paying heavy price. Loss of human lives, deterioration of critical infrastructure, school dropouts are abandoned, lingering humanitarian crisis, and states are gradually losing large tracts of their territory to these unfortunate incidents. Who now control and carry out various criminal activities and continue to conduct illicit cross-border trafficking. ECOWAS can only be weaker by these acts. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, as you are all aware, 4 of our member states are now facing sanctions for resorting to unconstitutional change of government, which contradicts the ECOWAS protocol on good governance and democracy. It will be recalled that following the extraordinary summit of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of the ECOWAS in Abuja, Nigeria, on the 10th of August 2023, convened sequel to the recent illegal detention of President Mohamed Bazoum by members of the Presidential Guard in the Republic of Niger. On July 26, 2023, ECOWAS deployed all diplomatic efforts to resolve the crisis. But as already stated, the head of the military junta in Niger remained defiant after the expiration of the one-week ultimatum given for the restoration of constitutional order in Niger. Ladies and gentlemen, during the last extraordinary meeting of the ECOWAS heads of state and government on the political situation in Niger, which was held on the 10th of August in Abuja, our heads of state and government directed the Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff to immediately activate the ECOWAS standby force with all its elements for the deployment to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger. The heads of states and government issued a communique which was signed by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria, who is their chairman. And they reaffirmed that President Mohamed Bazoum remains the legitimate elected president and head of state of the Republic of Niger, and he is duly recognized by ECOWAS, the African Union, and the international community. My dear generals, permit me to make a quote from the communique for the sake of our meeting and for the very reason why you are here. Article 3 of the communique states that the authority of the heads of state and the government hereby direct the Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff to activate the ECOWAS standby force with all its elements. The authority of heads of state and government hereby order the deployment of ECOWAS standby force to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger. Diplomatic and other channels shall remain open for the restoration of constitutional order through peaceful means. All member states, and let me repeat, all member states, the President of the ECOWAS Commission, and the heads of all institutions of the community shall take the necessary measures to ensure the full implementation of this decision. All member states shall take the necessary orders to ensure the full implementation of this decision. ECOWAS calls on UMWA and all other regional bodies to implement the decision. ECOWAS calls on the African Union to endorse all the decisions taken by ECOWAS on the situation in Niger. Further call on all partner countries and institutions, including the United Nations, to support ECOWAS in its efforts to ensure a quick restoration of constitutional order in conformity with normative instruments. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear generals, you and your dedicated and loyal troops today stand on the threshold of history as professionals who are being tasked to help the people of West Africa to enable them continue to elect their leaders through free, fair, and transparent general elections. I am of the firm belief that you, who form part of the most experienced soldiers within our sub-region, will put in place a strategic plan that will boost the confidence of our people and restore hope within our various countries. The spirit of our people in West Africa is with you as you meet here to put a plan in place which will meet the ECOWAS directives. Without trying to make a roll call, I am glad that the Chief of Defense Staff of Nigeria himself, the chairman, is here. The Chief of Defense Staff of Ghana, the host, is here. The Chief of Defense Staff of Ivory Coast is present in this meeting. The Chief of Defense Staff of Senegal is present in this meeting. The Chief of Defense Staff of Togo is present in this meeting. The Chief of Defense Staff of Benin is present in this meeting. The Chief of Defense Staff of Liberia is present in this meeting. The Chief of Defense Staff of Sierra Leone is present in this meeting. And the Chief of Defense Staff of Gambia is present in this meeting. Of course, ladies and gentlemen of the media, it's clear that Mali, who has a flag there, is not present. Guinea is not present. Niger is not present. And Burkina Faso is not present. These are the countries I mentioned were under sanctions and have been suspended. That is the reason they are not present. Of course, our brothers from Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde have genuine excuses why they are not there. They are not here. Your presence alone sounds and gives me a powerful message to the world that you are united in carrying out the directives of the heads of state and governments of ECOWAS, and that after today and tomorrow's meeting, you will put in place a plan to ensure that the standby force is activated and that democracy will be restored in Niger. If presidential guards in Guinea and Niger, I'll use the word, take hostage their president, nobody, and let me repeat, nobody in West Africa is safe. That is why I urge you to continue to be loyal to your heads of states. I urge you to continue to be loyal to ECOWAS directives and to give effect that the days that coup d'etats enjoy the support of our people are over. Yes, in democracy, people will agree to disagree. But the vast majority of our people in West Africa are with you. The vast majority of our people in West Africa do not want to be under the difficulties that we are facing today. You have the right, as men in uniform, to ask your governments for what you will need to be able to defend your nations. You have the right to ask your governments to give you the tools to defend the territorial integrities of your nations, to ensure that your nations remain peaceful. You have the right to ensure that your people choose your leaders in a free and fair manner. But the world will disagree. ECOWAS will disagree. The people of ECOWAS will disagree when you choose, or people under you choose, to take hostage the people that your constitution gives power to. Otherwise, all of us, including you, will not be safe. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I am very optimistic that between today and tomorrow, all of you will put your rich experiences together to be able to activate the ECOWAS standby force to enable you to respond adequately and swiftly to the demands placed on you by our heads of state. You did it in Liberia. You did it in Sierra Leone. You did it in the Gambia. You did it in the Guinea-Bissau. Of course, to some extent, the world did it in Côte d'Ivoire. And I believe that after Niger, ECOWAS and the world will see that West Africa is back to normal and our people will begin to enjoy the life that they deserve. I wish you the best of luck in your 2-day deliberation. It will not be easy. Nobody wants to go for a conflict. In fact, nobody wants, no soldier, no CDS, no president wants to see a soldier die under him. But when soldiers swear to defend their countries with their lives, they take that oath seriously. And when the authorities bestowed on you by the Constitution calls on you to exercise that mandate, so shall it be. Enjoy your short stay in Ghana as you'll be needed back in your countries. And I say, Akwaba, Ayiko, and may God be our guide. Thank you very much.
Minister, the Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, the resident representative of the President of ECOWAS Commission, Director, Peacekeeping and Regional Security, members of the ECOWAS Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff, the Chief of Staff ECOWAS Standby Force, representative of the Director Political Affairs, and the service chiefs of the Ghana Armed Forces who will join in the group photographs. I will urge our dignitaries to stay put as our friends from the media take leave of us to stand by for the photographs. Thank you.
Hurry up.